Zach, that hip, you were in high school right here. I said go, you were sprawling, but he sucked you in, you found yourself here. If you could have kept him, got him off, got him off. Okay? So I do sprawl, my hip is down. Okay? Learn power in these hips. First line defense. Block it with the head. He doesn't get in anything. Wow. What we're doing is one guy's on the attack. Get your hips down! Work your hips down! Now they go from back. You can't take me down. You can't take me down. Ready?
Lanky.
Oh my God.
What are we fighting about here? Come on, let you two kiss and make up.
Long man, you're coming up, your hand fight, you're giving your feet. Comes up without hand control, it's going to be over. Like that? So what's Pat going to do? He's going to be getting my hand with back pressure. Now the first one will start on the whistle. The rest of it, recast on your own.
Watch it in.
This will be, this is just work now. You're just going to work. You're going to wrestle, no more talking, just wrestle. So, Billings, Montana.
Billings?
Yeah.
So how long were you up in Billings?
I was born 1950, and I left there in 1965.
Oh, so
15 years old.
Junior high and some high school?
Yeah, well, ninth grade. End of my ninth grade year. Pretty
Yeah.
traumatic experience, actually.
Up there?
No, leaving.
Oh,
Coming
yeah.
to California.
Yeah. What did you think of California before you came
I
here?
didn't like it.
Really?
That was, thank God they had wrestling. Because there's a lot of schools, and I could have landed in the LA area. Some schools don't have wrestling. So wrestling became my identity at the school. Got my Letterman's jacket and all my buddies. And all of a sudden, California was okay. The beauty of wrestling, you don't sit if you're the guy. You can challenge him. There's no, it's not subjective. Is he better than, I just whip him. If I can whip him, I'm the guy. So I like that individuality about wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I always have liked the individual sports.
Mm-hmm.
I like racket sports, one-on-one. I like to run on my own. I like to train on my own. I like to wrestle. I've always catered towards that. And wrestling was a fit for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in those days, I remember, we're talking 1965, 66, 67, 68. I was a 1968 grad. And lifting weights was not, we didn't even have a weight room. We didn't even have weights at our high school. I was an average student, but I didn't have any direction. It was 1968, it was the height of the Vietnam War. Very crazy times, civil rights going on, burning draft cards at Cal State Berkeley. And, you know, my dad was a World War II veteran, fought under General Patton and Battle of the Bulge and Bastogne, and I was going to go join the Army, do my patriotic duty. And he said, what do you want to be, you know, 4 years from now, you know? He says, you ever thought about teaching, coaching? And suddenly, I had a goal. But both those schools, being from Montana, and you can remember the times here, 1968, 69, burning of draft cards, lots of demonstrations. I'm a country guy. You know, the guy comes up a recruiting trip to Chico. You know, it's 100 miles north of Sacramento. It's a beautiful school. And the countryside, and hunt and fish. That was a perfect fit for me. I dislocated my shoulder again. My senior year, the same one that I had surgery on. So that sort of ended my wrestling career as a competitive wrestler. And I started my quest at 22 years old as a coach. 1973, I was hired at Channel Islands High School, back in Hueneme area, Oxnard, where they knew me. Never had outstanding technicians as coaches. Had good guys, especially my JC coach. But the high school coach, Pete Clark, Fred Brodigan, my junior high coach, and Dick Trimmer, my college coach, good guys, but they didn't know a lot about wrestling. In fact, all of them were football coaches. Wrestling secondary. I learned that much later as a coach. Later I realized, wow, if you to be a really top level athlete, you can have those kids that are highly motivated, but they still need the coaching technique. So you learn you can teach a guy the right stuff, so he's not inefficient with his time. Cal Poly was tough in those days, really tough. You know, Von Hitchcock, they won 7 NCAA titles, numerous national champs and placers. They were the school in California. I'll never forget, I went to a coach's clinic. When I was a young coach at 23, trying to absorb everything I could, I listened to him speak in Anaheim. I'll never forget this, in Anaheim, and at the end of the clinic, he goes, is anybody going north to Ventura? And I said, yeah, and he jumped in the car with me. And I gave him a ride to Ventura, and he caught a Greyhound bus to San Luis Obispo. And for a young 23, 24-year-old coach, having this icon in your car with you was like, oh my God, it's like having the President of the United States with you. And so I picked his brain for the next 2 hours, all the way, you know, I made all kinds of mental notes. So he was a great guy. 1973, when I started coaching, I got that first job at Channel Islands. One thing you don't realize, I've been a competitor all my life up to that point. I knew I wanted to coach, but I had no idea what kind of coach I was going to be. And I really got hooked. I wanted to win badly. I got a group of kids, a handful of kids I talked into wrestling, and we went from nothing to great in a short time. And I went up and down the state in the off season with a handful of kids, and we got good quick. And so for 5 years, I went crazy from 73 to 78. In 1978, the California State Tournament was held at San Diego State, and I'd never been to San Diego. My team defeated that team. They were CF champs in 1978. That team was the first CF championship team right there. And the year before that, we defeated Poway at the Maricosta Tournament 2 years in a row. That's how Al Doris knew of me. So when I was at the state tournament, he sought me out. He said, hey, I'm quitting. This is my last year. Would you be interested in my job? Where's Poway? Jump in the car. We drove out from Peterson Gym at San Diego State in the pouring rain, just like this day here. Just like it. Pouring rain. It flooded Lake Hodges. Jumped out of the car in that parking lot, ran to that wrestling room. He opened up the door, and I went, oh my God, look at this beautiful wrestling room. Because for my 5 years at Channel Islands, I worked out in the cafeteria, rolling out mats every day. But I really wanted out. because I went right back to the area I went to high school. And I still had this itch always to go north, hunt and fish. And really, when I took this job in Poway, I only planned to stay 3 years. I told her, we'll only go down there for 3 years. Well, once again, I got caught up in the kids, the boys. That's the underlying thing that keeps me going. I've been coaching for 30 years, and it's the love of the kid that, well, you know, I love the relationship with a young boy, 14, 15 years old, that wants to be good at something. He has a little gleam in his eye. He wants to be a good wrestler, and I'm able to tweak him and take him from 14 to 18 in the sport of wrestling, where he'll live and die for me, and I'll live and die for him, and he'll win a gold medal, he'll stand on a victory stand, and then through that, watching that 14, 18-year-old.
Great. Tell me about.
In fact, when I left Channel Islands, we were on a roll, 49-0. We were undefeated, and we won league champs those 4 years. So the pressure was kind of on me because I was taking over this. They had won the league and the CIF the year before under Aldorus. He left the cupboard fairly bare when I took over. There was 2 or 3 good kids, but I had to pretty much rebuild. And by my 4th year, 1982, we won the CIF championship, and we've never lost since. Started in 1982 and went straight. We have the record, well, I think we're second to Clovis, of the most top 5 finishes in the history of the state tournament. And I think that says a lot, you know, I think, for the consistency and the strength of our program over the years, a year in and year out. And of course, we won the state championship twice. We've been 3rd several times, 4th, 5th. You know, once again, I think it's 13 times we've been top 5 in the state. You know, we had those 3 state placers coming back. The state champ, Paul Baird, Pat Payne, 3rd in the state, Joe Baker, 4th in the state, and then we had some guys in the woodworks there. Mike Williams was short of placing. We're in the hunt. We're among top 5 in the state that we've won. This has been a tremendous year. Tremendous year. We've won every single tournament we've been in, except the Reno tournament, which is 2nd in the Reno tournament. Highest placing we've ever done. This is a nationally renowned tournament with 80, well, this year there are 103 schools from all over the nation. And we were 2nd to Eastern Pennsylvania. That's incredible. And then we won the 5 counties tournament, which is the premier tournament in the state of California, along with, it's probably one of the top 4 or 5 in the nation. Things have been going great, except for this injury problem. This injury thing is just the scariest thing in the world.
Have you ever had so many injuries?
No. This has been an unbelievable year with, you know, the very first tournament we started, we lost 2 wrestlers at the opening tournament. Tyler Fuchs and Todd Shavrin. Now, Tyler Fuchs has made it back. It's been great, and we'll see where that plays out. We thought we lost him for good, but so far so good. And of course, Danny Almanza had knee surgery over Christmas break, and he's back. David Pickett hurts an elbow. Jeez. He's not 100% yet. We'll see where that plays out. And of course, this most recent one, which is the most devastating one, has been Joe. But as you just heard, it's not fractured. And he's very key to our success because he's one of the pillars. You got to have these pillars to win the state. You got to have Pat Payne, Paul Baird, Joe Baker, Cottrell. They have to do their part. Mike Williams. They have to get to you have to have finalists, or you're not going to win state. You can just forget it because Clovis is going to have some finalists. Bakersfield's going to have some finalists. Vacaville's going to have some finalists. And Calvary Chapel. The key is going to be the supporting cast. Those other kids got to step it up too and help us out. Somebody's got to be a hero. Well, over the years, I've picked my brain, you know, and what are the best training techniques in the sport of wrestling. Used to do a lot more distance running. Don't do that so much. I'm always learning. But early on in the season, to answer to your question, lots of technique, lots of teaching and learning. They got to teach them the system. And of course, you're going to have veterans, and then you got these kids that are not veterans. These kids get bored when you're teaching stuff they've seen it 100 times. These guys haven't seen it. But you can't be teaching real advanced stuff when these guys don't have their fundamentals. So I try to bring these guys along, get them up to snuff. It may not look as good as the good guys, and then we start to oil it and polish it halfway through. By the end of the season, now we just try to put some speed on it. Bigger, faster, stronger. We're not going to learn anymore now. We're just got to be tough, intense, hard. I try to hit all the body parts, you know. So I just, in my mind, I want to hit the chest and shoulder area, so I kind of start off with that chest and shoulder area. And then I come into an arm area where I hit all the arms in 3 or 4 stations in a row. And then I have a couple of leg stations, and then I make sure we hit our back with our pull-ups and our lat pulls. And it's nothing more than it's circuit in season, because you want to maintain the strength that you've built up pre-season. You're really not going to gain strength that much through season because every day you're going 2 hours and you're grinding. But if you need more stamina, you need more endurance. So your heart's got to deliver blood supply to all parts of your body. Yet it's highly anaerobic exercise. So I believe in the circuit there during season and just blowing out all these muscle areas, because that's what you're doing when you're wrestling. Just total body gets fatigued, and you got to get efficient at that. No, we don't do anything probably much different than anybody else. I believe in that sprint work, that all-out stuff. Early on in the season, more distance to build a base. And as you go harder, shorter, more 440s, 220s, 100s, hill sprints, sprints in the room. Yeah. Drilling is really essential. Every coach will tell you that. You got to drill, and you got to correctly drill so that your motor skills, you don't have time to think about it. Now that you know the mechanics, you got to start hitting it. What if he leads this leg, that leg, double leg, single leg, high crotch, fireman's carry? Then what if when he's attacking you? What are you going to do when he attacks you? You have all these different, when he hits a single leg, how are you going to counter that? High crotch, fireman's carry. He's got you in the front head. My problem is sifting out what's important and teaching. It's very easy, and I think all coaches have been a long time, good technique, good technicians. Your problem, and this is my problem, is not to teach too much. Simplify. Got to remember where the kid's coming from. Keep it simple for him. You give him too much, and that's my biggest problem. I got to really discipline myself to say, okay, stop talking. Let's drill this. I had 4 guys make it to the semifinals. I always felt all along Paul Barrett could get in the finals and be a state champion. He was the #1 kid in the state, and he proved that. I beat Spradlin in the finals. I felt real confident. I've been coaching Pat since 6th grade at least. I coached his 2 older brothers. So Pat's been wrestling. He's always been a little mat rat since 5 years old. And he's always had the right stuff. He has what it takes to be great. His personality is steady. He's not emotionally high or low. And he's tough. He's really tough. Mentally really tough. And learns well, smart. never complains, never misses practice. He's everything. He's a coach's dream. He's everything. If you were to write on paper, what are the qualities of a champion? He's got them. I saw Joe Baker in junior high, just a little squirt. He probably 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade. Can't remember exactly when. And started coaching him freshman year. I think he had a summer stint with me before his freshman year. Wrestling has been the best thing ever for him. It's been life-changing for him. But all those guys are really, really special. Joe and Pat, Paul, Mike, Kuzmanek, the senior crop. So this particular group with him, along with several others, this is one of the best teams I've ever had in my 30 years. Not only as wrestlers, but as people. They're fun. They're really fun. And I'm really close to them. They're like sons. Anytime a kid wins a state championship or any team wins a state champ, that's something of that magnitude. Obviously the technique, the conditioning, and the mental toughness have to be there in place. But there's some intangibles that we can't explain. And that's where a kid has to find it within himself. Once I send them out on the mat, and you're in an arena there, and we've been in that position, I've been in that position about 16, 17 times. It's out of my hands. There's nothing more that I can do. He's got to reach down. He's got to want it so badly and find it. He has to want to win badly. I'll yell and scream and coach. Tell him how much time is left and whatever. But he's got to find that special something. We can't explain that. I always define it as it, and I don't know what it is. We just know when he has it. And we love it when we see it. So what's it? Doc Mundy, he's a great man. 94 years old. I met Doc in 1978 when I first came to Poway. He was a retired doctor in his late 60s. Came into my room on a cane. Said, "Is there any way I can help you out in the sport of wrestling?" He says, "I wrestled in 1927. Okay, yeah, anything I can do. So over the years, we became close friends, and he would buy a scale, purchase some uniforms for us, support a kid to a national tournament, and just loved the sport of wrestling. Knowing what it did for him was very significant for him, because he was a young man growing up. And so it was so good to him, he wanted to give back to the sport. And wherever he'd practice his medicine, he would search out the local wrestling team. And we were recipients of that great gift early on. Of course, here just 2 years ago, all those 25 years of my relationship with him, he came to me, I think, sensing his mortality. I want to do something very significant. I would like to give you $1 million. Wow. I want you to use it in some way that will enhance the sport of wrestling. So it'll last past my lifetime, past yours, mine. Something that will stand so that the sport never dies. So that the youth of America, in his simple terms, keep them off the street, give them something to find meaning and purpose, keep them in the right direction. So we came up with this idea, let's build a training center. Something that will stand so people will have a place, boys will have a place to come and train. And with that in place, and that philosophy behind this building, we don't think it'll ever die. And so in 6 months we built it. And it's been, we have yet to see, we feel like we're at the tip of the iceberg, what we can do with this building. Through clinics and Olympians coming here and putting on seminars, all kinds of things we can do here. And that's the plan. In the finals of Reno, well, number one, he wrestled a great kid named Rogers from Easton, Pennsylvania, who was, I don't know what, probably number 1 or 2 kid in the nation. Because the year before he killed Pat. So we closed the distance on him quite a bit. The only thing that was different, he took us down one time. And Pat didn't want to pick down, so he picked on his feet, couldn't take him down. And then that kid got away. The kid beat us 3-0. The kid was very sound, very tough on his feet. I think Pat, you know, if we wrestled that kid 3 or 4 times in a year, I think we were right there with him. You know, so we're a little bit of the underdog going in. That's his only loss.
So Paul,
that was a misfortune. Number one, this was a kid that was a 2-time state champ out of Utah. That the coaches, they either didn't send his information, they didn't seed him. We're seeded number 1. We're not expecting to get a state champion of that caliber first match. So we got a little ambush there. I'm not making excuses for him, but we weren't up for that. If that was a semifinal match, we knew that this kid was really, really good. His mindset would have been totally different. So suddenly you're panicking because the guy scores some points on you, find yourself behind. You're wondering, what's wrong with me? So I think that had a lot to do with it. And to credit for Paul to come back all those matches, 9 matches, get to where he got, that was tremendous. Paul had surgery in the summer. A lot of people don't know this. Shoulder surgery, major shoulder surgery. Did not do anything for 3 months. Had to let that heal. He just got started back when season started in November. Paul, I think, is just now getting caught up. Here we are in February. He was not the same kid in November and December as he was when he won the state in March the year before. I know for a fact he wasn't. And so I feel we're gonna find out. We hope to find out if we can play this out at final match. I want to get there. I want to get to the final match with Varner. If Varner gets to the finals, and let's see. I hope it'll be different.
how was that match?
He was fine. He took him down pretty easily. Varner's a different type of wrestler. He's real good on top. We didn't realize that. We wouldn't have picked down. He's big. He's big for 152. He cuts a lot of weight. Paul's not big. Paul's small. Paul could be a 45-pounder. I chose not to cut it. So there's that coupled with his shoulder and Varner, a little different style. We're gonna have to make some adjustments. So he's a good kid. I mean, Varner's been wrestling all his life. His dad, he has older brothers that are state champs. His dad's coach. I won't take anything away from him. He's a very talented kid.
How about
Paul got caught. Got caught on his, once again, not as sharp as I think he is now. He got caught in that one particular big move. That threw the match out of, 5-point move there. And when it's 3-2 and all of a sudden it's 8-2. Pretty hard to catch up. And Paul's pretty one-dimensional. Everybody knows he's a takedown artist, and you don't hold him on bottom. So it's going to be a battle on your feet. If he doesn't win that battle, it's going to be difficult for him to catch up trying to turn a guy on top. He doesn't do that. He had lost to Mario Estrada the first day from Calvary Chapel. And he had a little mental lapse of about 30 seconds where he lost the takedown and the kid threw legs on him in the third period. So that didn't happen in the when they turned around and wrestled the next day for third. He didn't have that mental lapse. In fact, he was beating him pretty soundly, and then he actually got caught. So he ended up winning 9-7. But he at one point in time, I think he was ahead like 7-2. So he beat him pretty soundly the second day. Joe's on. He's wrestling hard. He's hard to beat. I think he could be state champion if he's full go. Full go, healthy, and he's on.
So
Well, he had an injury. He wasn't going to be full strength. He wasn't going to beat Mendez in the situation he was in. He had pulled an inside groin muscle. I said, forget it. We'll wrestle Mendez 2 weeks later at Canyon Springs, which we did. We lost 7-4. 2 very controversial calls. Or that match would have went the other way. So we're going to get, hopefully, one more chance.
how about
Mike is, he's way more talented, technically more sound than Halsey, the matches he's lost. But they've been able to slow him down. He ended up playing their game, and which is totally defensive game. Capitalize on you getting tired, sprawl, spin, beat you in the overtime. He did get caught with a headlock. Halsey has a great headlock. Stupid match with the Vista kid. He beat him soundly 9-2 on a Thursday night, and the Saturday 2 days later. He's winning 3-2. 15 seconds ago, he got the match won. The only way he can lose it is to wrestle his game, which is a defensive game. He shoots in the guy, throws him for 5. That should never happen.
how that match go?
Joe Williams is a lot better wrestler. That's the #1 kid in the nation. He took him down, though. I mean, I think he could close the gap. He could beat the kid worse, or he could lose closer. It was a 12-2 match. It shouldn't have been 12-2. Mike is plenty talented to stay with him in a close match, and he certainly can beat the best. He's the second best kid in the state. If he can get on the opposite side of Joe Williams, he could be in the finals. You know, Mike's just got to put it all together.
How about Chris?
Mm-hmm.
And
I think that's
counties
wide
in this?
open. I think he could be a state champion. Things fall right. He's got to wrestle smart and hard. But, you know, and he goes from anywhere, he could go anywhere from 1 to 6. I think all those guys are right there. Kid from Vista, Marquez from Bakersfield, Tyler Klutz from Clovis, and there's a kid that we've beaten a couple times by a point from Clovis West. It's a wide open weight.